Gradient Map is one of my personal favorites for getting in and coming up with really different and creative looks. It works pretty simply. So let's just go in and apply a gradient map adjustment layer here. And what it's going to do is pop up the properties window, and it's going to show you here a gradient. Now in this case, it's starting out with just a black to white gradient. And when you click into that gradient, what it's doing is anything that's a dark value, so it's showing you a grayscale here from 100% black to 100% white with a steady, smooth transition from light to dark along that band. And the very darkest values are being turned to black, and the very lightest values are being turned to white. And then all values that transition from pure white to pure black are being given or assigned a different lightness or darkness here. And so if I click OK, essentially what this has done so far is just taken this image and just turned it into a grayscale image. But we can go further with it, and we can go back into that, and we can say, I want to actually take all of my deepest shadow values and turn them a completely different color. So, and it doesn't have to be a dark color. It can be really anything you want to assign it. So I'm going to say, let's make those all, whatever would have been the deepest, darkest values, let's make them that red that's sort of actually fairly light in terms of value. Then for the white, we can go in and assign that something else entirely too. We'll give it, we'll make them all greens, for example. And so we've radically transformed this. Now I could go in and say, I could add more points along the way, and I can shuffle these around. So we might want to say, let's actually keep our darkest values black, or very nearly black. And then what we'll do is have, values that are 80% dark transition to red, or even a deeper, darker red, right? So it goes from black to a deep dark red, and then all the way as things lighten up, it's getting greener. And in the middle, I could say I want those middle values to be like a light middle value-ish purple or something. And so this is the way you do it. You think about what the value of the original image would be from light to dark, and then any of those points along the way that you want to change the color, you just add a new stop and you create a new color, and that color could be whatever value you want it to be. And then it maps those values onto the pre-existing former values. And of course this is completely non-destructive, and you can go back into that gradient and you can continue to change it up all you want to. So another example here where I've just gone in to this nature, or landscape, mountainous landscape, and then applied a gradient to it, and I've just swapped out the darkest values for this sort of, very deep dark orangish red, and then I've swapped out values that are maybe 75%, 80% grays for a more yellow green, also a fairly dark value, and then I've gone into my lightest values and just given them a 20%, gray, very pretty lightly keyed sky blue sort of color. And just, then I have the transitional gradients between those values and colors, and it creates a very surrealistic variation on this image by going in and swapping out some colors. So gradient map, lots of fun to play with, one to really get comfortable with for sure.